Hunt and Hill on a Friday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Happy Friday, Mr. Hill.
Oh, happy Friday, man. It's been a quick week, man. It went fast, a lot faster than I thought it would.
A lot of news this week. Hadn't been the most challenging endeavor to find content, but we'll make some happen today as well over the next 2 hours. Nick Diaz going to jump aboard to talk all things LSU at 12:30. Sharif Ishak at 1 o'clock to go over the autopsy of last night's Saints loss, which was not all that pretty. I've got a pretty good idea where LSU is headed bowling. We'll talk about that in the second hour and a loaded weekend of conference championship games in college football as well. But we start with last night in the Dome, Jeremy, and I'll get Taylor's opinion on this here shortly because he was there in the Dome. But your thoughts on what we watched last night? Dallas 27, New Orleans 17.
Man, I miss Drew Brees if I'm a Saints fan. That's exactly what I'd be saying right now. Just, man, that game was a lot closer than people think, man. The Saints were really in that game all the way through, and they just couldn't get over the hump, just getting down there in the red zone, moving the ball a little bit, and then the turnovers, just turnovers. Can't do it. It almost makes it impossible to win the football game. Dallas, I thought they'd be a lot more dominant. I thought, they probably run away with this thing, especially with the injuries and how Taysom was playing. But this was really a game, man, until the fourth quarter. But just you can't turn the ball over the way they did. And you really saw the Saints offense really just ravished with injuries. You could see that team could really use Alvin Kamara right now. If you take out Taysom's runs, wasn't very impressive, man. So for the Saints, just injury-riddled team, and obviously being 5-2, feeling really good about yourself. You see the way injuries have kind of railed them off, and them now they're being 5-7 right now. Just not a good spot to be in for the Saints.
It's the post-game quotes were very interesting because this is just unfamiliar territory for that organization that has been such a staple of success in the NFL. I'm reading Jeff Duncan's column on NOLA.com. It says during their 5-game losing skid, 5 in a row, which is crazy, they've played with a lead for a grand total of 6 minutes and 14 seconds out of the 300 minutes in those games. Last time the Saints led in a game was the second quarter of the Titans game back in Week 10. That's 14 straight quarters. And it's just, Taysom turns it over on 3 straight possessions. He's playing hurt. There's reports now that he may need some surgery on a finger that's really bothering him. He hit it on a helmet early in the game. They tried, I thought, early in the game to get him out on some rollouts, create some easy things. He ran really hard, ran for over 100 yards, had the hurdle play. He's banged up. He's trying the best he can, but he's not very good back there. His wide receivers are not very good, and the result there is an offense that just can't get anything going.
Yeah, it really is. And if I'm Sean Payton right now, I feel like my hands are definitely tied, and my feet may be tied up too, because it's hard to draw up plays, man. When you don't have a quarterback that can pass the ball accurate consistently, you got to get them on the edge, roll out stuff. That makes it very easy for a defensive coordinator to scheme you up and draw you up. And then you do on top of that, your run game is not very good. Mark Ingram at 2.8 yards a carry on 10 touches. You're just going to need a lot more than that to really put the fear of the defense that they got to respect the run game. So just, man, an uphill battle for Sean Payton and the crew having to try to, do this with their backup quarterback, man. They've been through 2 of them now. It's just not a good spot to be in when you lose your starter, and now you don't have your weapons on the outside, and then your all-pro running back's not in the lineup as well. So I don't see things changing much anytime soon for the Saints. It's going to be an uphill battle for the rest of the way here.
It's just it was so easy to see coming that they were just going to struggle offensively. The defense did everything they could to stay in that game. I mean, you look up, and Dallas has only scored 20 points through 3 quarters, which is very manageable. You're turning the ball over late in the game, then you give up a pick 6. Yeah. It's just, but the offense is never going to function with no members of it left. I mean, your 2 all-pro tackles are out, your all-pro wide receivers out, your all-pro running backs out, your quarterbacks have all been cycled through, injured, poor play. You're trying to figure out, and you just can't. We talked to Luke yesterday in the middle of that interview with David Hellman when he was in the car, and you can just hear it in Luke's voice. And look, Luke's from Wisconsin and is a Packers fan. Like, he's not a diehard Saints guy, and he was even defeated when we were talking to him yesterday. He's like, dude, there's nobody left, and it's just. It's the same song, different verse, and right now they've lost 5 in a row, and it's tough to see it getting a whole lot better, like you said. Taylor, I want you to open your mic. You were there, last night. What was the environment like in the Dome? This is not a fan base that's used to losing as of late. Certainly, those people there in their 50s and 60s have seen plenty of it, but it's been a while.
Okay, so it was a good environment. I mean, it was rowdy. It was the normal Dome you would think about in the first half. But I'll be honest, second half, Cowboys fans really took over that stadium. Yeah. I mean, the Saints knew that when they got down 10, he's not that guy. He's not going to air it out and get you quick scores. But look, I'll be honest, I didn't like Sean Payton's play calling in this game. You come out of the second half, you get the ball, you're down 10, but you have 2 whole quarters to go. Taysom's running it down their throat. They get to the 20-yard line. He throws 3 straight passes, and they have to kick a field goal. I mean, it was just one of those games where I feel like Sean Payton was trying to get cute, and as a non-Saints fan, I can be objective. I feel like he does that a lot, and I feel like he wasn't ready for Taysom to struggle that much in the passing game, and it felt to me like they didn't know what to do on offense at all.
I mean, I look up, I watched the game last night, and I'm watching the highlights again this morning, just kind of refreshing things, taking a couple notes. When I can't even get through it without laughing. When one of the main targets last night is Nick Vanette, things are not good.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I never heard of Nick Vanette a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. That's what I've been saying, man. There's no guy you can point to where it's a critical situation. It's a 3rd and 5. It's a fourth down conversion that you have to have. Man, the Saints are probably going to this guy. That's our number 1 guy. That's our number 1 target. They don't have a number 1. They honestly, I don't think they have a number 2 on this roster. It's a bunch of number 3 guys trying to masquerade as number 1 and number 2 receivers. And then obviously you look at the tight end position. I like Juwan Johnson as a receiving threat, but it's not much there, man. That drill is that well is pretty dry. So it's just gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be an uphill battle for Sean Payton. I know why he's doing the things like Taylor said. When you get down there, you're trying to pass. You're trying to keep the defense on their heels. You're trying to change things up, not be predictable. It's hard to do that when you don't have a quarterback you can trust. 28.4 QBR out of 100. Yep. I'm sure most of us went to school. That's not a good grade. So you need your quarterback to play a lot better than that to win football games in the NFL.
On the Dallas side of things, one thing that I noticed in watching, and I know he's hurt, but Zeke looks a step slow to me. It doesn't look like the NFL rushing leader that we've known in his earlier years.
Yeah, it's not the same Zeke, and I got him on my fantasy team too. So come on, Zeke, come on. I'm trying to feed Zeke, and it's just not much there to be ate this year. And just I think for running backs, I think the thing that you need the most, especially at the NFL level, is that quick step burst in short area. And if you don't have that short area quickness, you're going to be getting tackled a lot, and it just kind of looks like Zeke doesn't have that sort of. You see that juice when you see Tony Pollard run the ball. It's like a night and day. That dude has a different type of burst to him, and then you kind of see Zeke get it. Sometimes struggling to get to the second level, kind of running into the line a lot of times. Just not the guy that led this league in rushing for 2 seasons, and you felt like no one could get that guy on the ground.
On Pollard's long run down the sideline, did you think Williams was trying to watch the cutback? Because he looked like he had the angle, and I realized Pollard's fast and he was moving, but for him never to get there, I think he was just waiting for him to come back, and he never did. Just rode the rail all the way down.
Yeah, that's exactly what Marcus was trying to do, prevent the cutback. And when a guy is probably faster than you, probably a lot faster than you, you can't give up that cutback because you're trying to take an angle to where you can cut them off. And if you cut them off, they're just going to slip right underneath you and walk into the end zone. So he's trying to take a perfect angle, but when a guy's moving that fast, it's almost nothing you can do. It's just a bad spot the defense put their safety in, and you saw what happened. It was pretty much a walk-in touchdown, and that kind of blew the game open for the Cowboys.
I had some flashbacks last night when LSU was playing Oklahoma in that semifinal in 19. I went back and watched all the highlights from all of Oklahoma's games that year to get ready to do the pregame, do some radio stuff. And I was watching CeeDee Lamb after the catch. Was just ridiculous how many guys he made miss. And he was doing a little bit of that last night as well. And then that one-handed catch he makes that didn't count because he's out of the back of the end zone. He's something.
Yeah, CD's, man. I don't know, man. To me, he may be Dallas's number 1 receiver to me, if you ask me. If you're an alien from outer space and that was your first Cowboys game you watch, you probably say, hey, who's 88? He's probably their best receiver out there. Yards after the catch, I see him. I call him a dog. That dude's a dog. He gets the ball in his hands. He's angry for a guy that's probably less than 200 pounds. He's looking like he's trying to get to the end zone every time he touches it. So if I'm the Cowboys, I'm finding a way to get the ball to Pollard, and I'm trying to find a way to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb because those, to me, are their 2 biggest playmakers.
Well, let's go back to the Saints here and look at what they've got the rest of the way. 13 games down. They got a long week here before a road trip to the Jets. So you're at the Jets. You're at Tampa. So your next 2 games are on the road. You're in the middle of a 5-game skid. Not great. Then they play the Dolphins at home, the Panthers at home, and then they finish at Atlanta. You think they could go up there and beat the Jets, maybe, and you feel decent about the Miami and Carolina games at home. Those 2 road trips to Tampa and then even Atlanta at this point look look a little dicey.
I don't know that Miami team. They've won 3 straight in a row now. They're not as bad as they were to start the year. So even that game is probably going to be a lot harder for the Saints to win than they probably thought they imagined. I don't know, man. I think I heard this a couple weeks ago, and then do the Saints just kind of tank for a draft pick here? Is that kind of where the season's headed?
It's tough to do. I get it. You go to work all week, and no one loves being at work, and your respite, if you're a big NFL guy, big Saints fan, your respite is to put on your Saints stuff, pop a beer at 9:45 in the morning, and you enjoy the Saints and pull for the black and gold, and that's just part of your weekly routine. I get it. So it's against the fiber of your being to pull against the Saints. It's okay if they start to lose. The Saints, I'm just saying, it'd be okay if they moved up 3 or 4 draft slots because they fell apart at the end of the year. If you're trying to get a quarterback, which they very well may, and look at what New England's doing. That was the comparison that we made last week. They needed a year reset after Tom brought Cam in, didn't make the playoffs, weren't great, and they were able to use that draft capital, get a pick, and now Mac Jones is playing pretty well, and they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL. If you think the Saints are an organization at that level, I personally do think they're one of the top 7 or 8 organizations in the league at this point. Your roster's got some real talent on it. You're missing the piece at quarterback. It's okay to lose and move up a couple draft spots. I know it's sacrilege to even think about waking up and pulling against the Saints, but just take some. You can pull for the Saints, but if they lose, take a little solace in it. We're moving up that draft board.
Yeah, I think you always got to look at the context, and I think the context for this Saints team is you didn't have your number 1 receiver from day one. Obviously, you had David Onyemata suspended for the first 6 games. You obviously lost Alvin Kamara during that stretch one where you were at the top of the division and you really needed your best player on offense to play. Obviously, your starting quarterback out for the year. You're missing both of your tackles who are all Pro Bowl players. It's a lot that's going wrong that's kind of been out of the Saints' control. I can see if all those guys are out there playing, and he was like, no way, we still can make a run here. Those guys aren't there. They're just not there. So you got to look at the context of what's going on, and what's going on is just, you've been bit by this injury bug, and it's really derailed your team. So if you want to build for the future, honestly, for me, I've seen teams do it time and time again and just load up and rebuild in the draft. And you looking at this Saints team who still has a ton of talent when healthy. It probably would not hurt them to have some high first-round draft picks next year and kind of load up for the next season.
We shall see. We'll continue the conversation with Sharif Ishak from WDSU. He's going to join us at 1 o'clock. Nick Diaz, join us in 15 minutes. We'll be talking all things LSU. Big weekend in college football. The playoff will be announced on Sunday. Big weekend of championship games on Friday and Saturday. We'll talk about that next. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel, Jeremy Hill.
Sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on the FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel is giving you $100 in free site credit when you register early. That's right. Register and verify now, and you'll receive a free $100 bonus when we're live.
Look, we know you got options in terms of your mobile sports betting. Make FanDuel your pick. Get that account, get that free $100. You can bet it all at once when the site goes live, or you can just split it up and pick your spots. You can do live bets. They got super boosts on the weekend. It's so easy to use. And look, you get paid in as little as 2 hours once you win. Everybody likes that. So download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Register now. Get $100 in free site credit thanks to FanDuel. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? T-Bob here from my friends at All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.
A home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
On 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Championship weekend this weekend around college football starts tonight with the Pac-12. We'll get into a heavy menu of games on Saturday that'll shape the playoff picture. I think pretty much the consensus, Jeremy, is that 6 teams have a chance to get in. Of course, Georgia can win and get in. They can lose and get in. Michigan can win and get in. They're in the number 2 spot. Alabama can win and get in. They're in the 3 spot. Cincinnati, we'll see. They're at 4. Oklahoma State got a chance there to win the Big 12 against Baylor. They're in the 5 slot right now. Does that trump Cincinnati? We'll see. And then Notre Dame sits there and waits and watch. Of course, what Notre Dame wants is for Georgia to beat Alabama, for Cincinnati to lose, maybe for Michigan or Oklahoma State to lose, and they can slide in there. I think it's unlikely, but I think it's possible. Anything that catches your eye this weekend that we want to talk about first?
Obviously, if Cincinnati does lose, is there a way you think they put a 1-loss Cincinnati in there?
No.
They're up at 3, so no shot?
No.
No shot? Well, then there's no cause for concern to me. Let's go Houston Cougars. Let's go get this thing done, baby. Let's go win the AAC.
No love for Fickle's troops?
Look, man, Fickle, take the they can't even take the Indy job anymore. I got my boy Freeman in office, so, man, Fickle may be up there, man. They may be locked in right here, so we need the Cougars to do something.
Cincinnati versus Oklahoma State on a neutral field. Who you got?
Wait, Cincinnati versus who?
Oklahoma State.
Ooh.
That's the 4-5 matchup right now.
I'm gonna have to go Oklahoma State there because of the defense. I don't know if they can keep Cincinnati under 25 to 28, which I think they're very capable of doing. I think Oklahoma State wins that football game.
All right, well, they're not playing, so we don't have to worry about that. But Alabama and Georgia are. A lot of discussion this week. This is Kirby's shot to slay the dragon here. He's got what everyone would purport to be a better team. Alabama has really been clunky the last month of the season. There's just no other way to say it. They in a dogfight with Auburn in overtime. Arkansas scored 35 points on them and was right there with a chance to win that game. Tried an onside kick late. And then LSU, of course, just a 20-14 game that was pretty close. And Tennessee played them close into the fourth quarter. So it's just we hold Alabama to a different standard than we hold everybody else to. Yeah. It's just because of what they've done. But to me, they're just a pretty good team. This is not one of those Alabama teams that's a runaway freight train. It's just not. And I personally think Georgia's going to roll them tomorrow. I know that's. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that think that, but I do. I think they're a lot better. I think Alabama is going to have a hard time scoring, and I don't think they're going to stop Georgia all that often. I think Georgia's just better.
Roll them, huh?
I think they'll win the game by. I think they'll win the game by 17.
I think there's something real fishy about two former assistants beating Saban in the same season, man. That'd be some newfound territory there. So that's why I got Alabama.
You think Bama's going to win the game?
I think Alabama's going to win the game, man. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. I told you. Look, there's people that look at this two ways. I kind of look at the other way. I kind of look at it as being battle tested. A young quarterback, first year in the SEC. He's been in some battles, man. He's been in some close games, and when he's in those close games, he hasn't turned the ball over and costed him. You throw an interception late against LSU, that game's over. You throw an interception late against Auburn, that game's over. They found ways to win those football games. Georgia has not been tested, man. They've been kind of waltzing through everybody, not really being battle tested.
Yeah, it's because they're awesome.
Yeah, I mean you could say that too, but I could also say they haven't really played a team the level of Alabama this year. Look at their wins. Where's their notable win? What's that like? Man, they beat a great football team. That was a that team could possibly play in the college football playoff. They don't have one of those wins on their resume this year. Probably Alabama doesn't either, but I'm looking at it. I just think, man, there's something about Bryce Young, man. I think he's special. Bryce Young, Stetson. I think Bryce may have a day, man. I got the Tide in this one. I got Alabama.
You know how happy Nick Saban is going to work this week where everyone's doubting his team? He spends the whole year yelling at the media for the rat poison and making his team be propped up, and now everybody's saying they're not very good and they're going to, I'm feeding into it. I'm sure I'll show him a clip of this show. That's what he's locked in on. But I just don't see it with this Bama defense. They just haven't been great. And to your point, no, Georgia doesn't have a bell cow win. But what they've done is taken some solid teams and embarrassed them. Mm-hmm. I mean, Arkansas went to Bryant-Denny Stadium and played toe-to-toe with Alabama. They went to Sanford Stadium and were a joke. Yeah. So that's the point. There's no dominant win over a great team, but they're embarrassing the inferior teams, and that's why I believe in them. Stetson Bennett has gone from what looks like an intramural QB out there to making some plays for them, and now we'll see if Pickens can help a little bit. He's a superstar talent that they've had out the entire year. He was able to play a little bit against Georgia Tech. We'll see if he's out there and can help them a little bit in this game, and then a month from now, you figure he really could help in the playoff, which they'll be in. So I like Georgia by 17 or so in this game. It just wouldn't surprise me in the least. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama won. But that's just kind of the vibes that I've got. So now the question is Michigan ready for the bright lights for a second week in a row? They went to the shoe, and no, that was in Ann Arbor, and absolutely dusted Ohio State. Were just bigger, more physical, meaner, and ran it right at. Iowa's got a good defense. They play really strong defense. And we'll see if Michigan's ready. You think Harbaugh's boys are gonna take care of their business?
They slowed down that Ohio State offense, which is not really easy to do, man. They got some power. Look at Wilson, Olave, Stroud. They're putting up points. They're
Smith
putting
and
up.
Chiba.
Yeah. They got some firepower over there, and the job Michigan did on that offense, I think it can't go overlooked. So I don't think this will be a too big a spot for Coach Harbaugh and the crew. This is a great opportunity for the University of Michigan. I don't think it's too much, man. Those two things that always travel, defense and run game, and that's exactly the strong suit of that team. So I got Michigan. I got the Wolverines in that one.
I heard Charlie Hannengriff on Game Time a little bit earlier from Rufino's say that it might be a letdown spot for Michigan. It's just hard for me to imagine walking into Lucas Oil. Is that what's still called Lucas Oil? Lucas Oil. And walking into that stadium, a pro stadium in Indianapolis, in a Big Ten Conference Championship game, and having a little bit of a letdown. I think they're going to be fired up and ready to roll. That fan base is going to travel and flood that place because they hadn't been spending money on playoff tickets and Big 10 championships in decades. So they're going to be fired up. I think they're going to be ready to play. It just seems like a spot to me where maybe the program isn't quite at the level that they can repeat that time and time and time again. I like Iowa and the points in that game. I think Michigan probably finds a way to win it late, but give me those points with the Iowa Hawkeyes. So, again, I like Georgia and Michigan to win in the game. That would knock Alabama out. Question is, Cincinnati and Houston, all eyes for Cincinnati are on that playoff, and you wonder if they're concerned more with being a team that gets in the playoff than they are, hey, we got to take care of a little scrappy Houston team here.
Yeah, it could be. That could very well be the case. But I don't know. I think something about Coach Fickell. I think he's actually one of the better coaches in college football. I don't think you're going to see, a dead or, team that's, sleepwalking through the first half. I think Cincinnati's going to show up, but I think Houston's going to show up. I think this is a great spot for them to really, beat the number 3 team in the CFB playoff, a team that's in their division. So if I had to pick, I'm picking Houston. I like
that
the
is
Cougars.
picking with your heart because you've been anti-Cincinnati all season long.
Yeah, I probably been able to watch a highlight of Houston all year, but I got the Cougars, man. I got the Cougars in that one.
All right, what do you think in Big 12? You got Baylor and Oklahoma State. Coach Aranda's squad.
Yeah, Coach Aranda's squad. I'm sorry. I think I got Gundy. I got the mullet man. I got the mullet man in that one. I got Coach Gundy and the crew. That was a huge win in Bedlam to get that rivalry game and obviously beat Oklahoma, which I think is – I know Baylor beat them, but I just think it's a step above Baylor, especially where they are as a program. So I got Oklahoma State in that one as well.
Baylor played great defense in that first game. Won that game by a final of 24-14. This is, weirdly enough, you're talking about a Big 12 championship game where the defenses are the stars of the show. Oklahoma State's been awesome all year defensively, and Dave's got that Baylor program playing pretty well. I like Oklahoma State in this game. I like them laying the number, even though they are wait, hold on. Yeah, so 24-14 was the final. Oklahoma State won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So I like Oklahoma State to win again. That defense is really, really good, and I think Oklahoma State wins that one. Question is it enough to get them into the playoffs? And what it boils down to is, I like Georgia getting in. I like Michigan getting in. I like Alabama dropping out, which would move Cincinnati and Oklahoma State in with wins. That sound right to you?
Yeah, that definitely happens. That's definitely going to be the case. If Alabama has 2 losses, I think they're fried. They're toast. If Oklahoma State has 1 loss, I think I think the committee. I know they've been pumping Cincinnati, but 1 loss Big 12 winner, undefeated Cincinnati. That's where it's going to lie. That's where they're going to have to make that decision at.
And I think it's going to come pretty quick from that room because they have, for years, prioritized that conference championship. And I think they're going to put Cincinnati in, but I think they're going to put Oklahoma State in front of them. So I think you'll have Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Oklahoma State 3, Cincinnati 4. And that's a big deal to me that's because I'd rather play Michigan than Georgia. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Alabama can throw a wrench in this whole thing if they win, because they're in. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I think Oklahoma State will jump Cincinnati for that spot.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to Scona for a long time. He was telling me a 1-loss Notre Dame over undefeated Cincinnati. They do it the last week. But, hey, you don't have a conference championship. That's where not having a conference championship screws you in the long run, because if Notre Dame did have a conference championship and they're sitting at 12-1, I think the committee has a lot better chance of putting them over undefeated Cincinnati that they lost to. But you got the conference championship and you're 12-1. I think they could have a much better case to put them in. But since you don't, you don't.
Serves Notre Dame right for years and years and years of beating to their own drum and playing by their own rules and getting things they weren't entitled to, bowl bids, getting a conference. Like you have. This is your fault. I hope you enjoy your NBC check. That's all well and dandy. That's great. All that, your leprechaun and the gold helmet's super awesome. Movie Rudy, so great. Sit down. If you're not in a conference, you're not playing a conference championship game, you're not getting any breaks. I'm even agitated whenever I hear the term the Power 5 commissioners and Jack Swarbrick and meet. It just drives me insane. And serves you right. For all these decades of doing your own thing, it's going to come back and bite you here. And look, I know they don't have their head coach, but look, sit at home and sit it out. See you in the group in the New Year's Six bowls, because that's where you're going to belong, because you don't play this week, and that's your fault. So huge weekend of football starts tonight with the Pac-12 championship game. Again, the Pac-12 going to be left out for the 413th season in a row because they can't get it together out west. Would you welcome in Nick Diaz? Chat all things LSU next. This is Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Think staying hydrated is just for the summer? Think again. The end of summer marks the beginning of cold and flu season. When you're sick, your body is prone to dehydration symptoms, including headaches and body aches. Get relief with MyHigh, a liquid electrolyte mix that keeps you hydrated to support your recovery. MyHigh has 3 to 6 times the electrolytes of competitors, less than half the sugar, and no artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners. Rise like an eagle this flu season with hydration that soars. Order your MyHigh today at drinkmyhigh.com.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays with $15,000 cash.
You're kidding me.
No way. 15K holidays.
Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. Oh no, I did not.
What would you do with an extra 15K?
Great. My advice, as I always told my boys, do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops? I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID test. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Your view and listen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch hour on a Friday, working towards the weekend. It's Hunt and Hill. Our pleasure now to welcome in Nick Diaz from the Out of My League YouTube show. Nick, appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate y'all having me on, man. I was used to be an intern sitting right over there, and 2 years later, who would have thought?
Lights are brighter over here.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, what'd you make of the the hiring process in the couple of days that were on the internet streets?
Oh, I tried to stay off the internet. It was driving me crazy. Did the best I could. It just goes to show you that, look, I was telling people the last week, going into before the official hiring of Brian Kelly was announced that, look, just keep calm and trust in Scott. I just kept telling people that because it's about to get crazy. All right. If you think the past 6 weeks have been bad, it's about to get worse this last week. And you're going to lose your sanity if you keep reading every message board, every tweet, keep refreshing, your post every once in a while. Just keep calm and trust in Scott. And I got to tell you, I was feeling pretty good until Sunday when they announced Lincoln Riley going to USC, and that tested my strength. But then I realized, wait, Woodward when has he ever not made a great hire? When has he ever not come through, even with a baseball hire? I said, look, something's going to happen. Just keep calm and just kind of use logic. Like, logically, if Woodward has been very well prepared, very well organized, and always had a backup plan, plan B, plan C, plan D, his entire career, he's not going to all of a sudden, at the most important hire of his entire life, decide to get lazy and unorganized. So I knew I was tested emotionally, but in my head, I talked myself off the ledge. And sure enough, Monday night came and the good news happened.
So I was in the same camp as you, trying to, everything that you read's an agenda-driven thing from an agent or a coach or a reporter or whatever. Everybody's trying to get their angle, and you just can't believe anything because Scott's working behind closed doors. And we knew enough people that are generally involved in some of these decisions, and nobody knew anything. I mean, it was very, very quiet. And Ross now writes the story that Dellinger wrote the story today that said, look, Scott had his guys zeroed in early. They talked to Brian Kelly early. He never talked to Lincoln Riley, and Kelly was going to be the guy, and they made Kelly the guy. And look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. That may not be true either, because people are going to put what they want on print, and if Scott wants people to believe that that's the guy that he got, wrong or right, he can say whatever he wants. But it appears from the outside that that's kind of how things went.
Yeah, and there's a lot of theories being thrown around that, Trace Armstrong, who was the Jimmy Sexton.
He was the MVP of this.
He was not Jimmy Sexton. Jimmy Sexton sat on the sidelines for this one. But, I had heard so many people who, in LSU media that were trying to contact Jimmy Sexton's people, and they were like, dude, even Jimmy doesn't even know what's going on. I'm like, wow, okay. Turns out it was Trace Armstrong the whole way. And when I found out that Trace Armstrong was not only Lincoln Riley's agent, not only Brian Kelly's agent, but also, if I'm not mistaken, it's also Scott Woodward's agent.
That's correct.
I'm like, oh, okay. That's why only like 3 or 4 or 5 people in the world actually know what's going on. That's why nothing ever got out. So now the puzzle pieces are about to come into existence. But here's the thing about Scott. What makes him such a great leader is that he doesn't really care what the media narrative is. He's like, I hired a great coach. I don't care if he was my first choice, second choice, third choice. I hired a great coach. This is the best guy for LSU, the fit that they need, the CEO, the politician that they need for this job. And I got him, and we're going to win games. And after, a year or two from now, when Kelly's winning games and improving this program, which how can you not say he won't based on his experience elsewhere, nobody's going to care about what we're talking about the past week.
What would you say your biggest drawback for Coach Kelly coming in? I know a lot of people were excited for Lincoln Riley, but what would be the one thing like, man, I think there's someone out there that can do this a little better?
Well, I can only think of one, and that's his age. That's the only drawback is, look, it's a 10-year contract, and I know Saban's 70. I know Bill Belichick is about to turn 70. I know Pete Carroll's like 72 or 73, if I'm not mistaken, or 71. Coaches are coaching longer, and if you look at Brian Kelly, he's a young 60, very energetic, very energetic guy, still has a, great shape and great movement, great energy. That would be my only drawback is, well, okay, he's good now. He's a young 60, but how much longer can you realistically say he's going to be here for a decade?
Chatting with Nick Diaz of the Out of My League YouTube channel. Your thoughts on staff, guys that are currently on it, and guys that he may look to?
Well, if you don't retain Corey Raymond, I knew at the beginning of this whole search that with Corey Raymond, it doesn't matter who the next head coach is. Corey Raymond is going to stay on the staff because any person that doesn't want Corey Raymond on their staff is an incompetent coach and doesn't deserve to be a head coach in college football, plain and simple. Like Nick Saban's tried to pry him away. Georgia, Kirby Smart, Texas, this past offseason tried to pry him away. Everyone wants him. So, and Corey loves LSU. He stayed. He's had, opportunities to be defensive coordinators elsewhere, if I'm not mistaken. And he ultimately just stays here because he loves LSU. So we all know he's staying. The other one I'm interested in, because it's my understanding that Brian Kelly's offensive line coach is staying at Notre Dame, who's a very well-respected offensive line coach. I'd be very happy to see Brad Davis stay because he is a great recruiter and a great tactician of the offensive line, and is a Baton Rouge native and just got here. So I'd imagine I'd like to see him stay. I can't imagine why he would leave, and the scuttlebutt is that it's leaning towards him being retained. Everyone else, I don't know. I've heard Kevin Falk's name, but that's about it. I know Mickey Joseph, it's official now.
Yeah.
Bruce Feldman reported that he's going to Nebraska, his alma mater. If that's the case, then you need a New Orleans guy, and that's very, very important. That's a non-negotiable. It's Corey Raymond, and find a New Orleans guy to recruit that city.
Notre Dame, the number 4 recruiting class in the country. Tigers outside the top 15, a rare place to be for us. Where do you think Coach Kelly has his recruiting class by National Signing Day?
Well, I think it's possible they have it in the top 10. It just depends. I think Notre Dame being number 4 is really because they have 23 commits. It's really because early on they have so many commits to their class already, and LSU only has 13, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of that is just a number standpoint, not so much the talent that they have, their best 13 compared to Notre Dame's best 13. So that's why they're so high. It's very unusual for Notre Dame to finish in the top 5, and I don't know if they will this time around. But as far as what Kelly can do and the scuttlebutt about, what recruits are saying that were on the fence, that weren't committed, that were in Louisiana, the big-time guys that you have to get, so far they're very happy. These kids want to stay at LSU. That's half the battle, is that they're born, bleeding purple and gold. And, when you're a guy like Brian Kelly, you don't have to convince them to go to South Bend, Indiana, and qualify for the academics. Half the work's already done for you. You just got to go in and sell your message and say, hey, I have more wins than any coach in the country, including Nick Saban, 284, and just come be a Tiger.
What do you make of this basketball team?
Oh, man. I loved Will Wade's post-game press conference, man. I just love him so much.
He's my hero. I love him. Just the greatest.
He's going into the season, we all had expectations, but I think they've met the expectations as far as the style of team. I knew this was going to be more defensive-minded, more old school, something similar to what he had at VCU in Chattanooga. But this has also exceeded my expectations as far as how good they actually are. The first game, holding someone to 39 points, I don't care if it's ULM or Duke, that's pretty impressive in today's college basketball. But at the very beginning, I said to myself, wow, the Adam Miller thing really hurt. And I watched that in the first game. But
Still
then,
hurts.
Yeah, still does. But then after the third or fourth game, I said to myself, wow, could you imagine how good this team could be with Adam Miller? Because I still think this team could win an SEC title and make a run to a Final Four. I truly believe that. But like Will Wade said, even after the third game, you could see that there was a lot of cleaning up to do on the offensive side of the ball, some sloppiness with some turnovers. The good news is that, with guys like Javonte Smart improving at the point guard position, which Will Wade coaches, you've seen him develop that, and that's a fixable problem, is just being more in sync on offense. And look, these guys are new. These guys just started playing with each other. So it's a good place for them to be, even though Will Wade, still is not satisfied.
What's your prediction for Jay Johnson in the Crew this baseball season?
Well, there's a lot of new faces there, so I'm still trying to get to know all of them. I'll say this, the offense will be explosive. You have a lot of scouts and a lot of MLB guys and a lot of people that cover college baseball, like Kendall Rogers, who say, look, this team potentially, if the pitching staff gets right, they can compete for it all if they want to. But that's still a big if. And you've got a lot of young arms. You've got a great pitching coach coming in. And so it's just a matter of how they'll develop. I think Reiselman, that's how you say his last name, Reiselman, he's got all the stuff. He can throw 97-mile-per-hour fastball, but, a lot of people can throw the ball really hard. How can you be a great pitcher as opposed to just being a great thrower? So we'll see how they develop.
Eric came on over to Pluckers on Tuesday night and played a little sports trivia with me. I got to talk with him. He came over and shook my hand because he came on the show a little bit earlier, so got to meet him. He's got the goods. He's got real stuff. I saw him a couple times this fall. Nick, we appreciate you coming in. Tell everybody where you can find your stuff.
Yeah, you can find my stuff on YouTube. Just type in Nick Diaz, D-I-A-S, not with a Z, with an S. You can also find me on Twitter at the Nick Diaz, and there's a link to my YouTube page there. And we talk mostly a lot of LSU stuff, some bigger picture college sports stuff as well, and we we just try to be analytical, but try to keep it light as well.
Appreciate you coming in on Friday. Have a great weekend, man.
Thanks, man. You too.
He is Nick Diaz from the Out of My League podcast. We'll come back and close out hour number 1 next.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Love telling you about Brake Medics, BrakeMedics.com. Look, a lot of people are going to be traveling for the holidays. They're coming up, and you want your car to be ready to do that. You got to go out to Texas, go meet the family in Georgia. Make sure your car is ready to roll. Go to BrakeMedics.com. Jeremy will tell you how easy it is to get a quote.
Yeah, if you're looking for a free quote, all you got to do is go to BrakeMedics.com. All the information's right there. Year, make, model of your vehicle, whatever symptoms are going on, your brake fluids, flooding, whatever's going on that way. Go to BrakeMedics.com, your name, email, get all your information on there, and they'll give you a free quote today.
They'll set up a time. They will come to you, come to your house. You never have to leave the kitchen table. They can service or repair your brakes. BrakeMedics.com, BrakeMedics.com. We make house calls.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And now 0% for 60 months on Ford F-150s. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Ryan Kelly attempts to put together his LSU staff off the bench. 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing out hour number 1 here. I know no one wants to hear this because there are quite a few people listening to this show who are older than me. But I'm 33 years old, 34 next month, and I am sore from bowling one game last night. Like, I can barely stand up. My legs hurt so bad. One game.
Oh man, dude, you must have like a 20-pound bowling ball or something. How does that happen?
I'm just ridiculously out of shape and pathetic human being. It's just I don't, it's just pathetic. I didn't do anything. I bowled 10 frames.
That's brutal. No, man. Hey, look, as long as you had a Coors Light in hand, you're good to go.
Nah, I had a Bud Light.
There you go. There you go.
All right, let's talk a little LSU basketball here. Guys that are in significantly better shape and probably don't have to, hobble around after 30 minutes of physical activity, if you want to call it that. So I looked at some. This is on my podcast, Hoops with Hunt, that I post every morning at the Guarantee Podcast Network. You can get it on Spotify, the Apple Podcasts. You can get it at 1045ESPN.com. Let's look up some stats. By this point, everybody's played 7, 8, 9 games, so your stats are still skewed a little bit because you're playing teams that are inferior or you're playing way up in your weight class more often than not. But you kind of have an idea of who you are. You've got enough sample size now where if you had one crazy outlier, the rest of the statistical swoon will kind of come in and sweep it out. I compare it to, Days obviously started like a house on fire.
Yeah.
He's now just shooting 40% from three. He's kind of equalized a little bit with some rougher games. But LSU is number 1 in the nation in defensive efficiency, number 2 in the nation in opponent shooting percentage, number 2 in the nation in opponent's points per game, number 1 in the nation in steals per possession. They steal the ball in 15% of their defensive plays, and they're 26th in the country in blocks, which in a 313 or whatever teams it is, being 26th is pretty good. That is unbelievable.
Yeah. That's when you just cut them on, you watch them, especially get a chance to watch them in person, and you saw the crowd react to it. They're reacting to the defense, man. They're reacting to how they play on the defensive side. You can easily see that's the strong suit of this team. You don't really – I thought Darius could maybe be that guy, but there's not a 20-point scorer a night guy on this team. There's not a guy that when you roll a basketball out every night, they're going to get their 20 and there's nothing the defense can do about it. The defense, you don't have to worry about that. All those guys that are in that rotation, they can switch on guard multiple positions. They play the passing lanes well. They put a ton of ball pressure on you. And when they're locked in on the defensive end, that they make hay, man. It's really tough to score, especially when they're locked in. So I continue to see that being the strong suit for the team. And the numbers just said it. Number 1 in a ton of categories and top 5 in a bunch of others. That's going to be how they win a lot of basketball games this year.
And it's been fun to watch them embrace their identity as a defensive-first team. They love playing defense. The fans appreciate them playing defense. It's a calling card for this team, and it's so odd after watching this team stop basically nobody for 2 years, but you overturn the roster, and you just got a bunch of guys out there who are really good at defense. And we mentioned this yesterday, but man, if you watched that game on Wednesday against Ohio, that first 8.5 minutes where Ohio didn't score, it wasn't like they were missing shots. I mean, they did miss all their shots, but they couldn't get a look at the rim. They were getting shots blocked. They were having to give up, making extra passes. The rotations were there. They were getting the ball stolen. It was suffocating to a degree that I have not seen an LSU basketball play in really years.
Yeah, that was a very, very impressive run. You saw them feeding off the crowd. And that's one thing I've seen all year. Teams are getting 3-point looks, but they're not good looks. They're contested. Guys are rotating, putting a hand in face, and those are very, very high percentage shots, and you force teams to take those shots throughout a duration of a basketball game, throughout the duration of a season. You're going to look up and see yourself with a lot of stops on the defensive end, and that's kind of what they've been doing all year. So I know for some people kind of rub them wrong way, them switching everything and not fighting over picks, but you kind of see this year that they can do that with the athletes they have, and they make it real tough for you to find an easy bucket.
Only 14 unbeaten teams left, and LSU doesn't play for a week. You figure maybe a couple more will drop off there. You may be one of the last 10 or so unbeaten teams in college basketball. Everyone's been asking me, when are they going to be ranked? When are they going to be ranked? When are they going to be ranked? Well, they're 28th in both polls. I went and looked it up, and they don't play again until next Saturday against Georgia Tech. Got a finals week, and they'll travel to Atlanta and play in that holiday hoops giving thing over there in Atlanta. You very well may be ranked on Monday, depending on what happens this weekend. You take a week off and you play one game in Atlanta against Georgia Tech and beat them, you will be a ranked basketball team at this point. The SEC, pretty top heavy. You start looking at those rankings, you look at Kentucky, you look at Arkansas, Alabama, Auburn, some really good teams. And incidentally, last night, if you weren't paying attention, Belmont went to Missouri. And, Missouri went to, was it Liberty or Belmont? Let me look. One of the two. Missouri lost to one of those teams that LSU hammered at home. Let's see who it was. Somebody's going to know. This is really good radio, by the way, as I scroll through my Twitter feed. Missouri went to Liberty. It was 33-9 early in that game, and Liberty did beat Missouri. So those teams that LSU scheduled early in the season are winning a majority of their games at this point. You've seen the Ohio team that LSU beat on Wednesday. Only 2 losses to Kentucky and LSU. They've won the rest of their games. Liberty with an impressive win over an SEC team last night. So it's like we said, I don't think those teams are destined for the Sweet 16. I don't really care if they are or not. I don't even care if they're any good. What I care about is that they win games now that LSU's put them in the rearview mirror, and they are doing a lot of that. So no basketball games next week, but still a lot to talk about. I'll have Hoops with Hunt up every single weekday morning. Fast-moving hour number 1 on a Friday. That means we only have 1 more hour left in the work week. We will kick that off with Sharif Ishak at WDSU, drowning in his Saints sorrows. I got a good idea where LSU's going bowling. That'll be in the second segment of hour number 2. We'll also talk about the NFL slate that is coming up. Thanks to Nick Diaz for jumping on. Talked a little bit about the college football weekend that's coming up, and talk Saints Cowboys to kick this thing off. You missed it, 1045ESPN.com is the place to log on to find it. All right, so we will move forward towards the weekend. 1 more hour left for us, and we will get to it next. You're listening to Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Low testosterone sneaks up on you, often so slowly that you just get used to all
on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. Everything keeps changing. I'm sure glad you're here.
There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm still laughing about that. Every once in a while, we'll let y'all behind the curtain a little bit as listeners, and we'll do that right now. In case he makes the phone call in the middle of the break to get the guest on, Sharif Ishak going to join us. In case he said, "How you doing?" and then he chuckled. I said, "What did he say?" And apparently Sharif told Casey he was doing about as good as Taysom's finger.
That's not too good.
It's not in good shape. Sharif, trouble in paradise?
Oh, yeah. It was already getting cooked by the time he had to even make the start for this game. The season was already in jeopardy. I already told you guys that. They would have had to go on a miraculous run with all these injuries. But when you're playing with, guys like me at receiver, it's hard to win, dude. And I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's hard to win. It really is hard to win. And then Taysom, suffers that torn tendon, and he brought. I mean, you know what? I got to give it to him. A lot of heart, man, for him to go out there. His toughness. No one's ever going to deny that he's a tough dude. He goes out there and continues playing, but just law of averages. You have 4 straight winning seasons, and you're eventually going to get hit by the injury bug. Even worse this season and have a bad season. I mean, I know they were getting hit by the injury bug over those winning seasons, but this has just been devastating. It has never been like this bad.
No, it definitely hasn't. So you do some interviews and whatnot. What was the tone of the team after the game?
The funny thing is that Sean Payton hasn't really been mad at all this season. He was credited Taysom, and I think everyone pretty much credited Taysom's heart and his ability to go out there and just play and go through that injury and try to win the game. But it was just a mess, man. I think they knew they missed a lot of opportunities. Some of the play calling was kind of iffy, questionable early in the game. You're wondering, or even late in the game, we're wondering why on 3rd and short you're throwing balls instead of running it with Mark Ingram. And, defense held up for the most part. They gave up that long touchdown run. I think that was the longest run they gave up all season. The other one was to Miles Sanders against the Eagles, like 25 yards. It just goes to show you, man, when you have a good quarterback, multiple receivers, good tight ends, an offensive line like Dak has, you're going to win games. You're going to beat teams that, don't have an offense. And I think with the offense not being on the field that much, it really does wear down the defense. And eventually throughout the game, you're going to give up one of those big plays because you're just tired, plain and simple. You're just going to give up big plays as the game goes on if you're on the field longer. Last night was a little bit better, though, for them in terms of, time of possession. But they just, once again, 5th straight game without putting up a single point in the first quarter. If you're going to get off the slow start, you aren't going to win games.
Do you think the Saints team gets demoralized after, this losing streak that they on? You kind of see them kind of tank the rest of the way, or do you think they have some fight for the rest of the season here?
I have a hard time saying the word tank, but not tanking. But not tanking. Now, the question becomes, do you bring back Alvin Kamara? Do you bring back Ryan Ramczyk? And technically, they're still in it. And because the wild card is an entire mess right now. A lot of teams near 500, a game or two below 500. I think they'll give it a try against the Jets and see what happens against the Jets in 9 days. If they're fully healthy, maybe they give it one chance. And if somehow they lose that game, you shut it down. You don't put all those players, health in jeopardy for the future. You want to make sure they're good when the season starts next year. But it's human, man. It's human nature to be a little demoralized and losing. I remember James Hurst last week said it. Yeah, man, it sucks to lose. I mean, no one likes to lose. I mean, we're humans, and losing can, make you question things, can, just could beat up on you sometimes. And I understand it. No one likes losing, especially whenever you've been winning the previous 4 years. You're not used to a long losing streak like this.
You see any positives?
Great question. I do think Marshawn Lattimore played really well last night. I thought he played well in defending and pass defense. He had quite a few breakups, had an interception. I still see Carl Granderson continuing to make big plays in the backfield, affecting the quarterback and even blowing up some of the run plays. Offensively, other than Taysom running the ball, those interceptions were for the most part pretty bad. I understand his finger is busted up. Kenny Still's got to make that catch, though. Even Sean Payton said that's frustrating. He's only caught 5 of his 22 targets, lowest in the NFL. I think I saw since 1992. That's not good. I mean, for a receiver in the NFL to drop or not catch 17 passes in a season, got to be better. But it's really hard to draw on the positives. And the run defense played well outside of that one big run. I mean, we know the run defense has been great all season long, but not many positives when you lose 5 straight games and you're 5-7 and you have a bunch of injuries.
Obviously, the big finger injury, but do you think Sean Payton and the crew continues to play Taysom Hill at quarterback for the rest of the season here?
I don't see him touching the field again. I mean, let me tell you something. I'm not a football player, Jeremy, and I had that same exact injury to 2 fingers, my middle finger and my right middle finger, my right index finger, and I was in so much pain. I had no idea how he even continued to play in that game. You can't move the tip of your finger.
How'd you
That's
do
how
it?
bad it is. I was playing leapfrog one New Year's.
Leapfrog.
Can we get an age on this?
This was 2014 New Year's going into 2015, and I remember how much pain I was in when I spiked those 2 fingers into the ground. I couldn't move them. I had to go see a hand specialist. They were in splints for 2 months, and I don't know how he actually continued playing other than adrenaline, and he's tough and he wants to be out there. But for you to grip anything, it's almost impossible with just having 1 finger, 2 fingers. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know how he gets out there. I don't see him taking another snap at quarterback. Maybe in 3 weeks, if that's the timetable for an injury like that with him, if he has the surgery. Maybe he could play another position. But at this point, do you risk it? Do you risk his health long term? I see them going back to Trevor. Maybe give it an Ian Book a shot if they really don't think the season's going anywhere. You roll him out and see what they're doing, and you go into the off season and you figure out your quarterback situation from there.
I'm less interested in Taysom, more interested in you doing this playing leapfrog. Were you able to drink enough that night to make the pain go away? It was New Year's.
Well, obviously you know how it happened. It was because it was New Year's. So yes, yeah, man. Listen, that next morning when I woke up, I immediately regretted playing leapfrog, and then I looked at my fingers, and both of the tips were pointing completely down, and I was like, oh, I guess they're not going to go back up on their own. And it took 3 months to actually fix my mallet fingers because I'm an irresponsible adult at the age of, I can't even remember what I was that year, maybe 32, 33 years old. So just be smart. Don't play leapfrog whenever it's New Year's.
So
I know you come for sports and you get these great stories from me.
That's what we want.
So what do you think Sean Payton does? Because obviously he tried to get, Taysom on the edge a little bit, tried to get the run game going. That seemed to not be working very well, especially with your tackles out. Do you think he continues that strategy for the rest of the season here, or do you think he tries to change it up?
When a beat-up offensive line and you had Taysom out there playing quarterback, I was a little surprised they didn't try running more with him early in the game. Maybe some read options. Zone reads. I'm surprised they didn't run any of that early. They did it late in the second half. It worked. He looked like a track star, hurtling over people, running over people. But at that point in time, his finger was beat up, and they weren't going to probably let him throw that many passes down the field. They were throwing a lot of deep concepts early in the game, which, Dallas had them figured out. They double-teamed everyone going deep and trying to run crossing patterns. So I was a little more surprised they didn't run the ball earlier in the game against that defense. But Dallas, got to give them credit, man. That defense is healthy, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good and healthy. And Micah Parsons is a beast. Kind of wish the Saints had a player like that on their team right now, a young player who can affect the quarterback. Moving forward, Jeremy, it's interesting what they're going to do, though. It really is interesting. You can really coin flip it here. You don't know if Kamara comes back. You don't know, which quarterback is going to play. I mean, at this point, you just want to make sure you can keep the team as healthy as possible for next season. At this point, you don't want to lose anybody that is going to cost you half of next season.
All right, let's change gears a little bit, Sharif. The Zion Williamson saga continues down in New Orleans. What's the latest on that?
Man.
What is going to happen here?
Come on, dude. More injury talk. All right. So at least I saw from, I was looking at Andrew Lopez and Will Guillory's tweets, at least he was shooting the ball at shoot around, and they said it was a slight setback. It wasn't anything major. He just had some soreness in his foot. So maybe 2-3 weeks, right around Christmas. Is it pretty much what everybody anticipated, him being ready for, around Christmas time. Everybody called it before the injury happened. Just got to get in shape, man. This is all about getting into shape. One of these two franchises needs some kind of positive news. They need to reverse the curse with this voodoo stuff with their injuries. But at least they've been playing somewhat hard for Willie Green. The problem is playing hard pretty consistently, because you saw what happened against Dallas the other night after they came off a big win against the Clippers. I mean, it's a lot of up and down, up and down, up and down. Sometimes they just play a complimentary game for 4 quarters, and then the next game they just get blitzed. So if the trend goes the same way, they're going to go to Dallas tonight and probably win easily. So it's just finding that consistency. They got some solid players. It's just building, getting the chemistry. Jonas is one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, probably the best player on the team. I didn't think I was going to say that before the season started, but he's been amazing. It'd be great to get he and Zion next to each other just to see what they can actually do.
I got an over-under question for you. We got over or under 100 shrimp po' boys for Zion's before Christmas. How many do you think he puts down?
Oh, Jeremy, that's a little mean, man. That's mean. I don't even know. I don't even think he eats po' boys. Honestly, I don't know what his diet is, but I'd go under then. I don't think he really eats po' boys. I don't know his diet. Sure. It's a holiday season. I'm trying to be nice to people, man. I need good karma. I'm not going to be mean to anyone for the rest of this year.
Oh, that's interesting. All right.
I'm not really a mean person.
No, unless you're talking about the Garden Gnome that you kicked during a Saints game a couple of weeks ago.
Well, that was because that was officiating. Another bad call last night, that blindside block.
That was an awful call.
Brutal. Officiating in the NFL has been at its worst this season. I can't believe how bad it is. But you know what? Guess what we do every Sunday, Monday, Thursday? We continue to watch, so it doesn't really matter.
That is right. Stay away from the leapfrog, Sharif. Have a good weekend.
All right, go General Wade.
He is Sharif Ishak from WDSU. Little leapfrog injury in your 30s.
That must have been an interesting New Year's. A lot of pain, but hey, sometimes New Year's gets a little rowdy sometimes, right? So you gotta get after a little bit there.
It happens. All right, we find out LSU's bowl destination on Sunday night. I've got a pretty good idea where things are heading. We'll talk about that next on Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Yo, you can listen to 1045 ESPN on the airwaves.
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations, with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID test. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks
have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Riot Radio Hours return. Join us Friday 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Working towards the weekend here, Friday edition of Hunt and Hill. And by virtue of LSU's victory over the Texas A&M Aggies last week, the Tigers will be bowling this season. 6-6 gets you in. We'll not have Ed Ogeron on the sidelines for that game. Brad Davis will be the head coach. But the question is, where is that game and who is the opponent? We find that out on Sunday. But I've done a little bit of digging and asking around. We'll see. I do know for a fact that Shreveport would love to get LSU. They would sell a ton of tickets, and they would get a pretty good crowd with the hometown team there. I don't know if it would fire the athletic department up, but Shreveport would be fired up, and they are going to do everything they can to try to get LSU to Shreveport. They've put together a little bit of an ask where LSU's playing basketball against Louisiana Tech in Bossier the same night. That game would tip at 6. They're going to move it back to 7. If they can get LSU into the bowl game, you could go there and then go basketball after. However, I don't think that's going to happen. Again, the Independence Bowl is going to try. They're going to need to pull some strings to get it done, but I don't think it's going to happen. So, got a couple other options. Birmingham is an option. That's a lower-tier SEC bowl. But there's a pick before Birmingham that I think is the place that is where LSU is going to end up. Now, things can change. There's a couple of days left, and decision-makers can make decisions when the time comes. But I believe LSU is going to be heading to Houston. I believe that they will be in the Texas Bowl. That is in January on the 4th. It is a Tuesday. It's at 8 o'clock at night, which means on a work night, I will be on the air until 2 in the morning. But I think there's a really good chance that LSU ends up in the Texas Bowl against a Big 12 team, someone like Kansas State, someone like Iowa State. What say you about the Texas Bowl?
Oh, yeah. I have no quarrels with the city of Houston, Texas, baby. I think that would be great. Tiger fans, it's definitely a little 3-hour, 4-hour drive from Baton Rouge. Go down the little I-10 and go check the Tigers out in the bowl game. Obviously, Goldman coming from a national championship. Texas Bowl is probably not going to get too many people jumping for joy, but I think Houston is a big-time city. A lot of LSU alum in that city. And I think the Tiger fans would definitely come up and show out to support the Tigers, especially with a new regime and with a new head coach. So, yeah, I have no quarrels with the Texas Bowl.
So as you start to look at the pecking order, obviously Georgia will be in the playoff. Alabama has a chance to play their way into the playoff. Ole Miss at 10-2, very likely going to an Access Bowl, a New Year's Six Bowl. And then you get to the next level, and that's the Florida Bulls who will get their pick, and they'll have the teams with the better records over there. Texas A&M will get a look over there. You look over, let's see, who else in the league looks like they've got a lot of wins. I think you've got an excited Tennessee fan base that somebody's going to jump on over there on the East Coast, whether that's the Music City Bowl, Liberty Bowl. I think the Vols will travel really well. They're excited about the way things are moving. And the Texas Bowl will fall down, and then they're going to have a group of Mississippi State, South Carolina, Missouri, Texas A&M, those kind of teams. And I think that the Texas Bowl will take LSU because of the huge presence that they have in Houston as opposed to South Carolina. Missouri's got some ties there to Houston, but not as many clearly as LSU. You don't figure South Carolina's going to come all the way over, even though they're excited about the way their season ended with a couple of nice wins and lost to Clemson. But I think that the Texas Bowl, given the choice, is going to jump on LSU because of the proximity and the Houston alumni base.
Yeah, that's definitely – it's kind of a no-brainer for them. You looking around the SEC landscape, obviously Ole Miss is probably going to be in the New Year's Bowl. The teams around six losses or seven wins or 7 losses, I would say you're out of it. But I think LSU kind of fits that narrative perfectly. I think you can get the fan base. Obviously, a lot of LSU fans in Houston, right down the road from Louisiana. You got to get the Louisiana fan bases. And then I think you pair that with a Big 12 program who's also probably near the state of Texas. I think you got to be cooking with something there. I think you can fill that in. The only thing, it's a Tuesday night. That's a little shaky, but I think since it's so close to Baton Rouge, I think it still put some fans in the stands.
Of course, LSU went to the Texas Bowl back in the Miles era, and that was the Kingsbury Texas Tech squad. Mahomes was on that team. It's amazing when you've got a head coach that is atop a division in the NFC and maybe the best quarterback on the planet, and they were together at Texas Tech and still couldn't win anything. Yeah. That's how bad that roster had to have been. But I knew that Texas Bowl was over on the first offensive snap that LSU ran.
Leonard.
They tossed the ball to Fournette. There's a big hole. Then a linebacker filled it. He ran right over the running back and got on the linebacker and got like 15 yards. And I went, if you can't stop that, LSU's going to score 100. And LSU scored over 50 points in that game, basically just running the football. Leonard ran for 4 touchdowns. It was an absolute domination over in Houston that night.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. And I think the first possession on defense, Jamal Adams baptized someone on national television. He just completely annihilated some dude on a screen pass, and we were just overmatched. You can just see the level of NFL talent compared to Texas Tech. And I remember, man, that Texas Tech offense wasn't any slouches, man. Mahomes was throwing the ball all over the yard on a lot of teams when in the shootout with Baker Mayfield, but it just wasn't the day, man. LSU, just too many athletes, too many dudes, like I say, a lot of dudes on that team. And you see the talent, man. Coach Kelly, you be getting a little taste of that talent pretty soon here.
And I think for LSU's perspective, the Texas Bowl is a great fit. Look, I love my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of those guys are going to be fired up to go to Shreveport. I get that sense. Yeah. Birmingham, not the greatest place on earth to go. Houston, big city, and play in an NFL stadium as opposed to, wherever they play in Birmingham. Legion Field. I don't know where they play the Birmingham Bowl, honestly. And then obviously you look at Shreveport with Independence Stadium. So I think that would be a really good fit. Does anybody from the Big 12 fire you up? Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor and Oklahoma State and Oklahoma are obviously, I don't know what Texas' situation. No, Texas didn't even make bowl eligibility, so
yeah.
You're looking at some sort of Kansas State, Iowa State type team.
I would. I think Matt Campbell and the crew probably get a little more people in the Houston and the Texas, and I want to see what Iowa State about. I know you kept hearing those Matt Campbell rumors. Let's just see how good of a coach he is. I want to see Iowa State. That's probably the team I want to see.
If Iowa State comes, they will bring a lot of people because I remember distinctly going to cover that game y'all played in against Iowa. Down in Orlando, and it was in Tampa. Yeah, Tampa. And Iowa turned out for that thing because you know what? In January in Tampa, it is 70, and in Iowa, it is 4.
Yeah.
So it is a no-brainer. They love to travel. I stayed with Shea Dixon and Ben Love in this rinky-dink motel. I think I slept on the floor. And it was this pitiful motel type place, and these Iowa fans were literally sitting in the parking lot in lawn chairs the day before the game because they just wanted to be outside. It was just they love coming south for these bowl games. So I think if Iowa State did come, although it's not a huge alumni base, they would bring some people. So I think that would be interesting. We'll find out everything you need to know about LSU's bowl berth on Sunday when those announcements come down post selection show, which is generally right before the NFL games kick off. I remember watching the 19 selection show from the Superdome, and when they flashed Ohio State, or they flashed Clemson, or flashed Ohio State up there at 2, and I knew LSU was 1, I just screamed in the dome. People were looking at me like I was crazy, but I needed to play a little Oklahoma there. I didn't want any part of Ohio State or Clemson. All right, come back, talk about the NFL slate that will come at you on Sunday. That's next on a Friday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Just in time for your Christmas celebration, don't miss the great specials at your High Neighbor Supermarkets. USDA boneless beef ribeye steaks, $8.99 a pound.
Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
And Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Cruise through the NFL slate here, Jeremy. I wouldn't call it the greatest set of games I've ever looked at. Saints will not be playing Sunday, obviously, coming off the loss from last night. So South Louisiana gets a little reprieve from football and go take some care of something else. Don't have to watch what's been pretty miserable for the Saints over the last month. So let's do it. We break it down every week by tiers. Tier 4 stinks. Tier 1 is good. Newsflash, there are no Tier 1 games this week. I didn't think any of them were worthy. But Tier 4, just a couple. A lot of average stuff, but here's the bottom of the barrel for me. The Giants are at the Dolphins. Joe Judge versus Brian Flores, both Belichick guys. The Dolphins playing a little bit better, but still not a super interesting game. No playoff implications, really. Just a pair of pretty bad teams.
Yeah, Danny Dimes not in the lineup either, man. Who doesn't want to cut the TV on to watch Danny Dimes? No, I'm kidding. No, that's just not much to see there. That's just not much there, and those teams probably aren't going to be making it to the wild card run. So, yeah, not much implications in that game.
If you want to watch an ugly offensive football game, you can watch Eagles and Jets. You're going to see Zach Wilson back out there again. The Eagles, they got a chance to make the playoffs, but it's not very pretty to watch.
Yeah, they're pretty much running an exact college offense is what the Eagles are doing, and the Jets.
I'll give Jalen Hurts credit. He's better than I thought he'd be. I thought that was a wasted draft pick. I didn't think there was any chance he could be a starting quarterback in the league. And they're not totally dysfunctional. It's just, it is like you said, it looks like a college or high school offense.
Yeah, it looks like a college offense. It's just a lot of read option, a lot of quarterback runs. It's just really predictable. But they got some athletes out there, and then Hurts is obviously, he can use his legs. That's where he does the most damage. But yeah, that game probably won't be getting too many viewers in it as well either.
Those are Tier 4. Tier 3, a little bit better, still not super awesome. The Bucs are at the Falcons. The Falcons are 31st in the league in pass defense, and Tommy Boy's showing it up with those weapons. Not Antonio Brown. He's in a little bit of trouble. But what do you make of that one?
Yeah, I'd see that definitely being a big-time moment for the Bucs. They lost a couple that they would love to have back, and I see them really locking in and getting that laser focus that you got to have in the stretch run of the season to possibly have the number 1 seed in the NFL playoffs to get you some of those bye weeks that Tom does not like missing out on. So, yeah, I see the Bucs coming in loaded and ready to go.
Cardinals are at the Bears. Cardinals are coming off a bye. I don't know if Kyler Murray is going to be back or not. That has not been quite announced yet. And the Bears going back to Old Red, Andy Dalton, QB1. Justin Fields banged up.
Look, I need Kyler back. Look, my fantasy QB, dude, we've been getting crushed without you in the lineup. Kyler, I need you back, baby. Come on. It's got you starting this week. You had the bye week last week. We need you back in the lineup. We got to start racking up these W's.
I'm in a fight for my life not to get in last place, to have to buy wings for the entire draft next year, and it is not going well. I kind of had a little bit of a lap of focus yesterday because we had the Christmas party, and I made the mistake of starting Tony Jones Jr. That was a bagel. Zeke got me 5. So we got some issues. We're probably going to finish last in the league, and we're probably going to be making a rather sizable wings purchase next August, which is very disappointing. Vikings are at the Lions. Neither of these teams stop the run very well, but might not have Dalvin Cook or Swift in this game. So two teams that don't stop the run, but they may not have any running backs to stop.
Look, I actually picked up the Vikings defense this week because they're going against the Lions.
The winless Lions.
Yeah, look, man, we need no Swift, no running back in that game for the Lions. So, look, this is a perfect opportunity. Look, the Vikes, you're not out of it. You got 6 losses. You can make a run here. You're not out of it, but I need the defense. Defense, play well, man. I'm sick of getting my butt kicked in fantasy.
What would life as a Lions fan be like? That is they
probably
have been around forever, and they're awful every year.
It's probably like living in Alaska or something. Like, not much going on. Not
much
to
sunlight.
Do. Yeah, not much sunlight. Doom and gloom.
I mean, and then you get just absolute generational superstars that just bail after right in the middle of their late 20s. It's just like, I've had enough.
Look,
that's enough of playing for the Lions. I'm one of the most gifted athletes of all time, but I'm not playing for this team anymore. Barry Sanders, Megatron, gone.
Yeah, look, they got my boy Staff out of town too. Staff couldn't take it anymore either. Look, it's a rough place to be in. And you throw those winners up there in Michigan, it's not much to be cheerful for. So yeah, I see the Lions, man, that they're gonna maybe go the only team 2-0 wins,
Yep.
2-0 win seasons. That's brutal, man.
Never even been to the Super Bowl. You got to luck into it at some point, but obviously not. Staying in Tier 3, the Colts are at the Texans. My comment on this game: you think Jonathan Taylor may be an All-Pro this year?
Oh yeah, especially with King Henry being out and a lot of these, top tier running backs, being out like McCaffrey and some others out there. Yeah, I definitely see Jonathan Taylor being up there. Obviously, if the Colts had a little more success, you'd have some MVP, tea leaves on the wall.
That's just become such a quarterback-driven award.
Yeah,
it's just hard to win that.
You gotta be. I mean, you saw King Henry rush for 2,000 yards twice, and he probably didn't get a vote for MVP. So it's a tough award. I think if you're a back like that, you got to have an okay quarterback on your team and almost go for 2,000 yards just for you being in discussion. But Jonathan Taylor's definitely an All-Pro, probably the best back playing this season.
You know how I love to tell you I've got these lock bets and never wager a cent on any of them? That's and this one's not a lock. It's just one that I like this week. The Washington football team is going to Vegas. Washington football team is on a short week. They played on Monday. The Raiders are on a long week. They played on Thanksgiving. So you're talking about a Raider team that's laying 2.5 points. I'll take the Raiders there because they've got more time to prep. It's 3 extra days. Give me the Raiders, 2.5. What about that pick?
Man, look, I don't know, man. Every time I feel like, I'm feeling strong about these bets, I see more and more why Vegas is never going out of business, man. It's so hard to predict these things. It's so hard to.
You don't think I can take Vegas down?
It'd be a tough one, man. You probably have to get some reinforcements for that one.
Don't go to Vegas. Do the FanDuel Sportsbook. More on that in a second.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I got Taylor Heineke in that one, actually.
No.
I got.
You're just trying to be contrarian. All right, Jags are at the Rams. Jags are 2-0 against the number when they're double-digit dogs this year. They're double-digit dogs in this one. You gonna wager on herbs, boys?
Man, I am not. There's not much to be wagering on. They got a couple wins this year. Some big-time performances, but look, the Rams, they've been telling off. This is a great spot for them to get back some rhythm, get back on the winning track, and it gets to 8-4. So I think the Rams show up and show out in this one.
Well, still in Tier 3. These are just not great games. 49ers are at the Seahawks. Seattle won the first matchup 28-21. Things are pretty cranky in Seattle right now. Pete Carroll's being short in the media. He's saying, I'm not very good at this losing thing. They're not used to it. You had Russ in and out of the lineup. He's back. They're home in this game, and I don't like them.
Yeah, they're just not the same Seattle team. We saw that team go to 2 Super Bowls, kind of saw the defense leave, and we kind of saw them rebuild around Russ, and it's not looking like it's been working out too well, especially this season, man. They just have not been that high-powered, explosive offense that we've so used to been seeing them do year in and year out. So I think this is a prime opportunity for the Niners to get some revenge after losing to them early in the season. And Deebo Samuel, man, he is having a year this year. Running the ball, catching the ball, just so explosive after the catch. I look for the Niners to have a big day there.
We'll see if he plays. He's iffy. He may play. Then moving up to Tier 2, this is the good stuff for the weekend. The Chargers are at the Bengals. The Bengals they routed Pittsburgh last week, but it's very much a 2 steps forward, 1 step back deal for our Cincinnati Bengals. Yep. They think they can step up at home and take out the Chargers this week?
Yeah, you talk about the Bengals, man. I think the Chargers are more like that way than anything because they'll play a game where like they play against the Steelers and put up 40, almost 50 points, and then they'll go lose to the Broncos. So I think the Chargers are right in that same mold as the Bengals, really high highs and really low lows, but I think this is a prime opportunity for Joey B to take that next step and show the consistency that we know that team can have with all the firepower they have on offense. Joe Mixon is a guy who's having another, all-pro year. You can kind of put his name in those whistles to be an all-pro running back. And if he's running the ball like that with all those weapons on the outside, the Bengals offense is going to be extremely tough to stop.
Ravens are at the Steelers. The Steelers have been a little bit iffy this year. This is maybe more of a name brand thing while I've got them up in Tier 2. But I do need the Steelers to, at home, help out my Bengals and take out the Ravens.
Yeah. I mean, the Ravens, a lot of people are wondering how they're 8-3. They could have lost a bunch of games this year coming back against the Colts, obviously against the Browns, throwing 4 interceptions from Maxon Jackson. Just, man, they're probably, probably not the shiniest 8-3 team in the league, but they're battle tested. They play tough football. I think I'm going to go Pittsburgh in that one, though. I'm going to go Pittsburgh at home.
It's a good year to be a Harbaugh right now.
Yeah.
They're doing quite well. Broncos are at the Chiefs. The Chiefs have played in 3 straight, low-scoring slugfest, which is totally off-brand, but You know, they're starting to win some games. What do you make of the Chefs?
Yeah, I'm told you, I'm not jumping off that Mahomes wagon.
We're
man.
about to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not jumping off that Mahomes wagon, man. That dude's done too much in this league, too fast, too quick, and getting the Super Bowls, winning the AFC every year seems like. I got the Chiefs in that one. I think they're gearing this thing up for a playoff run, and you got to win this division game to do that.
All right, we didn't get a chance to go through our Super Bowl discussion because this week's been loaded with content, but I want to revisit it right now. I'm down to 6 teams, really chopping teams away. Probably a little premature on all that, but I've got the Packers, who I still love, the Bucks, who I still love, the Cardinals, who are good. They're not quite that name brand, so I don't know if I've bought in totally, but I know they are good. I've still got the Rams there. In the AFC, I've only got the Bills and the Ravens, which seems a little bit light considering the way the Bills are playing. You can't tell what Bills team you're going to get week to week. But I've also got the Ravens. It feels like I'm really light on the Patriots, Cowboys, and Chiefs right now. They're my biggest concerns, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that too. That's why I was a little iffy on etching some people out. Probably wish I didn't.
We
do the
had to
Pats.
get rid of the Patriots. They were playing like garbage.
Yeah, they were like 1-4.
Yeah,
they were 2-4. They were 2-4, something like that. They were bad. But Baker,
delete.
My screen, Baker, just ill. That's all I'll say about that. Just not playing well at quarterback. And if you want to do anything in this league, especially in the playoffs, you're going to need your quarterback playing well. Obviously, he's been banged up a lot, but Baker, this is not Mr. Progressive I thought I'd be seeing this year. So got to play better than that. So to be on my contenders list, Browns.
Jeremy finally cut his Super Bowl pick out of the Super Bowl chances. That is a sad sight to see, folks. We really hate to see that. So both of us have Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Rams, Bills, Ravens. You have Chiefs and Chargers as well, and keeping those right there. The other season-long kind of competition was on the Tiger Zone, where we picked against the spread on SEC games, and that has come to an end. Really strong performance by both of us this year. I would like to pat both of us on the back very admirably here on a Friday. I was for the season against the spread in the SEC 51-37, and you were 48-40. You tried to fade me hard the last week. We had a lot of differences, but somehow we managed to both go 4-4. I faded down the stretch. Things were looking really, really good, but 51-37. That's a pretty solid effort against the number in the SEC.
Man, you bet $1, man. You would have made some money this year.
Yeah, I think we covered that. I like to tell people what to do with their money and keep all of mine and not wager any of it because I know that I have no chance of beating Las Vegas. But you should bet your money and use the FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll talk about that, and then we'll come back and close out our number. No, we're going to close out the whole week on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Perfect segue into the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and there's no better place to get in on the action than the FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel is giving you $100 in free site credit when you register early. That's right. Register and verify now, and you'll receive $100 in free site credit when we're live.
Look, it's Christmas bonus season. We're giving you an extra one, $100 in free site credit. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's an app right there on your phone. You go in the App Store, type in FanDuel, pops right up. It is so easy to use and navigate. Even though it's not live right now, you can cruise through it and check it out. You can look at the NBA slate, look at the college football slate, college basketball on there as well. If you download the app for free and create your account, $100 in free site credit. See for yourself why. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. It is safe, secure, 100% legal and regulated. And when you win, you can get paid in as little as 2 hours. FanDuel Sportsbook. Download it. Get that $100 in free site credit. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. The bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hi, this is Blake Hollingsworth. Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings? Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations, with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID tests. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
View and listen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing things down here on a Friday edition of Hunt and Hill. A couple of things that have kind of been taking over the internet streets. Did you hear the cut up of Brian Kelly talking at the LSU basketball game and see all the outrage here?
Yeah, what they say, the fake
Southern accent. Look,
Yeah.
Look, I'm not trying to defend the coach here. Whatever. People are going crazy about it. And maybe he did fake a Southern accent. Like, I have no idea. But I talk into a microphone for a living. I have words that come out sounding funny and slur them all the time. It's just part of like delivering something your mind's doing is going fast and you say something. And it sounded, the word family is the one that everybody's emphasizing. And like, I just don't, it just didn't seem to me like he was totally hamming it up. I've heard the guy speak in press conferences. It sounded pretty par for the course. Maybe I'm just,
I think
in
there's
denial
a
or something.
lot.
I just didn't get it.
I think there's a lot of upset Notre Dame fans, especially watching the press conference on the LSU Sports chat. They're not happy about him leaving. They're calling him trade. They're just looking for anything to say negative about him. But I mean, it's college football here, guys. It's not treason. The man just took another opportunity. You got to cheer him on and everything he's done for that university. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I think there's so many other things you can point to other than a Wednesday night in the Maravich Center. Like, let's relax, people.
So I disagree with one thing you said there because I'm a petty man. You said you got to cheer him on. No, I think if somebody betrays your university, you hate him forever. Like I will never forgive John Chavis, and every time he coached a game against LSU, I wanted us to score 100, and most of the time we did score 50 on him, and he never beat us because he bailed on my university. I don't care if he was right or wrong about the Les Miles contract thing and all whatever went on.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that he left my school for Texas A&M. I'm going to despise him for the rest, and that's how it goes because that is why I am a very petty person. What do you think about Mickey Joseph heading to Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. You really just look in that receiver room. There's a lot of guys. Like I said, there's a lot of dudes in that room, and there's going to be some guys playing at the next level in that room. Obviously, K-Shine probably be high on that list. It's a tough one, but I trust Coach Kelly to fill that spot and with a guy that's been has experience, has done it at the college level before, and he'll be able to get the job done.
Mickey did a really good job recruiting at LSU. Was obviously the liaison to New Orleans. The Joseph family is legendary in New Orleans high school ranks, so did a great job pulling in guys like Jamar Chase. And, he played at Nebraska, heading to the alma mater. They're coming off a brutal season, and Scott Frost is hanging by a thread up there. So I hope Mickey doesn't buy a home up there. Maybe rent one for a year and see how things go. But obviously a chance for him to go home. And it was a bad little segue there. I was talking about Chavis and then transitioned to Mickey. Mickey's not guaranteed a job here, so took an opportunity that he's guaranteed a spot. They offered him the job. He took it at his alma mater. I think it's gonna be tough sledding up there for the Cornhuskers, but he's done a really, really good job here at LSU and certainly been gracious with his time with me with the pregame interviews. I've done him multiple times, multiple years, because he's always accessible and always does a great job. So best of luck to Mickey Joseph up there in Nebraska. We will look to LSU to fill every role on the staff, including the wide receivers coach, as Brian Kelly is working fast and furious to get that done. I think that was all I wanted to get to on my notes. Yeah, so let's do some take it or leave it. Hit it.
All right, take it or leave it. All right. The Memphis Grizzlies, they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder last night by 73 points to set an NBA record for margin of victory. Are you taking or leaving the NBA should implement a mercy rule?
I don't. I'm going to leave that. But here's a question. Do you think if the Pels had it to do over again, they would take Ja instead of Zion? Still early.
No way, Jose, man. That's still on Zion. When healthy, when in shape, when he's laying off the donuts.
Wait, is that a guarantee?
Yeah, it better be, dude. Huh? You're freaking $100 million athlete here. You better be taking nutrition seriously. But I think Zion's really young right now. I think as he gets older, he'll realize how important these opportunities are and how few and far between they come. And he'll kick it into gear, man. I'm sure being in New Orleans when you're a kid that famous and has that much recognition this early on, it's probably not the most sexiest place on earth to be, but you got to kick this thing into gear, man, especially if you want to sign that big extension like you think you got to sign in a couple years here.
Well, here comes the perfect segue there. Soreness in his surgically repaired right foot, delaying the return of Zion Williamson. Taking or leaving, he will play a game this year.
Man, honestly, this is going to shock people. I'll take that.
I mean, he's got to play one game.
I don't know, man. There's something real fishy about this thing, and I don't know, man. I think those tea leaves, like we say about him not wanting to be in NOLA, they could be true, man. I just don't know. I don't think Zion plays for the Pels this year. I just don't see it. I could be wrong.
He's got to play once.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very fishy. I've seen Kawhi pull it. I've seen a couple of guys pull this little injury thing. So we'll see how it plays out. I know Pels fans don't want to hear that, but I don't know, Zion.
It's not good, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. All right, Notre Dame. They hired Marcus Freeman to be their next head coach. Are you taking a leave and he'll get them back to the playoffs in 3 years?
He may get them there in 3 minutes if they get there on Sunday. I'll leave that. It's hard to get to the playoff, and it's a heck of a gamble by Notre Dame to take a guy who's never run a program before to be the head coach at Notre Dame, and that is a difficult job because of how nationally you have to recruit. It's unique. There's not another one like it, and so he's obviously been there for a year and understands a little bit about how it goes, but. You got a signing class from all over the country, and that's kind of how you have to recruit. The admission standards are a little bit different. It's tough, but he's a really good recruiter and has been a good defensive coordinator. There's no question he's a good football coach, but they can go get somebody a little bit more proven. They decided to take a risk with the young guy, and so we'll see how that goes. Taysom Hill threw 4 picks last night against the Cowboys. Saints took the L, taking or leaving. That was the right move for the Saints to start Taysom at quarterback.
I'll leave that all day long. Look, I don't know how much Sean Payton needs to see. I think we've seen the body of work. I don't think Taysom Hill's an NFL quarterback. Now, if we're at the college level, high school level, we're running, read option, speed option every play. That's one thing. But this is the big leagues, man. You got to have an accurate passer that can, drop back and pass it accurately for 60 minutes. I don't think Taysom's there yet. I've seen enough of it. The throwing motion it takes too long to get the ball out. It's just not accurate. 4 interceptions, that should tell you the whole story there. I know a lot of people were pounding the table. Let's get Taysom in there. Simeon stinks. Well, at least Simeon can play quarterback. So I don't know, man. I never liked that move for the Saints. I think Taysom's fit in this perfect role, the Taysom Hill role. tight end, H-back, maybe a few quarterback snaps, but a full game quarterback, no way, Jose, for me. I'm not signing up for that. Then we got one more here. All right, Joe Lunardi of ESPN.com. He says the Purdue Boilermakers will be the #1 overall seed in this year's NCAA tournament. Are you taking leaving the Boilermakers are the best college team in basketball right now?
I would seriously consider it. I'll leave it for the second. I think Gonzaga is great. I like this Duke team as well, but Purdue is playing awesome basketball right now. Matt Painter is a hell of a basketball coach. Purdue's 7-0. They just absolutely annihilated Florida State. They beat number 5 Villanova. They beat North Carolina by 9 points. They're really good. They've got a heck of a team, and they just score like crazy. I mean, they scored 93 on Florida State, 97 on Omaha. Villanova is a really good defensive team. They scored 80 in that game. They scored 93 on North Carolina. Like, they are legit. And so, the Big Ten's got some really good teams. Purdue, I think, is the best of them. I still think Gonzaga may be the best team, and I do like Duke's team as well. But I might take it. They're very good.
Yeah. I haven't watched much Purdue this year, but I think the way they're playing, you're scoring that amount of points in college basketball. You can't look over that, man. You need points to win games, and the more you score, the more pressure you put on the other team. So you're scoring like that, and you can keep that consistently, especially with the track record of the teams they beat and put points up on. Yeah, I think they'll be right there when March Madness rolls around.
All right, we got 30 seconds. Your pick for the top 4 when it's released on Sunday morning.
Top 4. Alabama.
So you think Alabama's going to win?
Georgia. Mm-hmm. Michigan. And Oklahoma State.
I've got Georgia 1. I've got Michigan 2. I've got Oklahoma State 3, Cincinnati 4. We will see on Sunday morning. We'll find out. Matt Moscona's driving you home 3 to 6 on After Further Review. The early line is coming up next. That's Mario and Musso. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. We will